Hello, grade 11. So this video will be about chapter 5.5. And chapter 5.5 is turning a equation from general form back into vertex form. Okay, so this will be about general form to vertex form. Okay, and the book calls this standard form, but I prefer to use the word vertex form. Okay, so what is general form? General form is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. That is your trinomial. And the vertex form will be the a bracket x minus p whole squared plus q. This is the vertex form. Now, why do we prefer vertex form? We prefer vertex form because after we convert it, we're able to determine where the vertex is immediately. We can tell whether it's a maximum point or a minimum point depending on a. And we can very easily solve for the two roots of x by setting the equation equal to 0 and sending everything else to the other side. Whereas in general form, it's quite hard to do. So let's go ahead and I'll show you some examples. Now there's two parts. The first part is if there is an without an a, and the second part is if there is an a in front of the trinomial. Okay, of course the second part is a little bit harder than the first part. Let's go with the form of just let's do our first example. Okay, so first example, we want to convert or express y equals x squared plus 12x plus I'll just make up a number 11 in vertex form or standard form. Okay, so this is in general form so far. Now what we usually do, if you remember correctly from my lesson, then the first step what we need to do is we need to look at the value of b. Okay, the value of b. Okay, check the value of b, and we're going to take half of the value of b. Okay, that's the first step, half of 12, and that is going to be 6. Then the second step, if you remember correctly, is we're going to square that number. We're going to do 6 squared. That's going to be 36. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add 36 and subtract 36 so that it can cancel each other out. Okay, it balances. So y equals to x squared plus 12x. And I'm going to add 36 and subtract 36. So I've done nothing to the equation. Okay, I haven't changed it a little bit. I haven't changed it a bit at all. But all we do now is we can re-put a bracket in front of the first three terms because this is what forms that perfect square. Okay, so now we can write this in perfect square form. So the perfect square will be just x plus 6. Okay, it will be half of b. That will be it in perfect square. So this will be x plus 6 whole squared. Okay, and then we have minus 36 plus 11. We can combine these two together, and that becomes negative of 25. Okay, so this is the completed square form. That is how we do it overall. Now, let's do another one. Now, this is nice and easy if b is an even number. But what happens if b is an odd number? Then we may run into some difficulties. Okay, now let me show you this example. Okay, so example 2, example 2. Let's convert f of x equals to x squared minus 9x plus 10 into vertex form. Okay, so again, this is quite a, I wouldn't say it's the most difficult question, but it is a little bit tricky because b is an odd number. Now, how do we convert it if it's an odd number? We do exactly the same thing. We're going to take half of it. So step 1, we're going to take half of negative 9, which will be negative 9 over 2. Now, please leave it in fraction. It will make life a little bit easier for yourself. Do not do it in decimal because when you square it, you want it in fraction form. Okay, so second step, we're going to do negative 9 over 2 whole squared. And so the negative disappears. This becomes 81 over 4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add 81 over 4 and subtract 81 over 4 from the original. So we have f of x is equal to, and we have x squared minus 9x. We're going to add 81 over 4 and subtract 81 over 4, and then the plus 10 stays at the back. And then we're going to take the first three terms. That will be our perfect square. Now, how do I know what goes inside the bracket? Well, it's just this orange part, okay? It's just negative 9 over 2. You take half of b, that is what makes the perfect square, okay? And you're just going to write it in perfect square form. So f of x is going to be x minus 9 over 2, okay? It is exactly the same as this over here, okay? So let me put this in orange to make it super clear for you, okay? So you just put that into here, and this whole thing is squared. That's your perfect square. And then we have minus 81 over 4 plus 10. Now, what we need to do is we need to combine these two together to make it into one single fraction. And so what I need to do here is, let me just rewrite negative 81 over 4, and I'm going to put this into fraction out of 4, so that's going to be 40 over 10. Okay, so I just multiply top and bottom by 4. Sorry, that should be 4 at the bottom, 40 over 4. And then I can add them together. 81 plus 40, sorry, negative 81 plus 40 will become negative 41. So overall, this becomes f of x is equal to x minus 9 over 2 whole squared minus 41 over 4. Okay, and you can just leave it in improper fraction. You don't have to turn it into mixed number if you don't want to. And that is it, okay? Now, the next part is I'm going to show you examples of how to convert if there is an a. All right, so we have another equation here, y equals to 3x squared minus 24x plus 10, and we want to convert it into vertex form, okay? So this one requires one extra step at the beginning, and you have to be a little bit careful for this one, is because what we have to do first, okay, the first and most important step now is we want to take out our a term, okay, from both the first and second term. Okay, we're going to factorize it out. Okay, so we're going to take out 3, okay, from our ax squared and bx term. Okay, so we want to factor out. Sorry, it shouldn't be just take out. It should be factor out. I used the wrong term there. It should be factor out 3 from our ax squared and bx term. So after we do this, it should be y equals to 3 bracket, and then we have x squared minus 24 divided by 3 will be 6x, and then close the bracket, and then we have the plus 10 outside. Now that we're here, the second step is going to be our same as before. Remember, we're going to take half of the b term. So this is still the b term, okay, minus 6x. Just because it's factored out in the bracket, it doesn't change the fact that we can still complete the square inside this bracket over here. So we're going to take, step 2 is we're going to take half of negative 6. That is going to be negative 3. And then third step now is we're going to square it. Okay, negative 3 squared is going to give me 9. And so this, we're going to add into the bracket and subtract the same thing in the bracket again. So let us go ahead and rewrite this. Y equals to 3 bracket of x squared minus 6x. We're going to add 9 and subtract 9. And then we're going to close the bracket, and then the plus 10 stays outside. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to reapply the bracket in the first 3 terms again, because this is what forms our perfect square, the 3 terms in here. So let's rewrite it. Y equals to 3 bracket, and the perfect square is going to be x minus 3 whole squared. How do I know it's minus 3? It's this minus 3 over here. Okay, so it's the same. It is the same minus 3 that we took half of b, okay? So the half of bx term is the same over there, okay? And then our plus 9 stays outside the bracket, our first set of brackets, okay? And then we're going to close the bracket, and then we have a minus 9. Sorry, that's the plus 9 becomes part of the perfect square. Sorry, I'm very sorry about that. This becomes minus 9. Sorry, this is this just coming down here. Okay, so this whole thing becomes the perfect square, and then minus 9 stays here, and the plus 10 becomes over here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to redistribute the 3 into, not into, sorry, in front of this bracket and to the negative 9. Okay, so we're just going to open up the first set of brackets, okay, the outermost set of brackets. So this becomes y equals to 3 bracket x minus 3 whole squared minus 27 plus 10, and then we're just going to combine the minus 27 and plus 10 so that this becomes y equals to 3 bracket x minus 3 whole squared, and this will be minus 17. Okay, so we have successfully converted this into vertex form. Okay, so with this, we can see that, it's a positive function, so it looks like a U. It would open upwards. It's shifted 3 units to the right and 17 units down. Okay, so you can, very roughly sketch what it would probably look like. Maybe something down here, and it would look like this. Okay, now this is just a very, very rough sketch. I don't know exactly where it intercepts the x-axis because I haven't calculated any of that, but just a quick sketch for myself so that I know approximately what it might look like. Okay, let's do another example, and then that'll be the end of this. Okay, so let's do this one. We have sometimes it will not give you a expression in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Sometimes they may shuffle the order, and you'll have to reshuffle it back. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So here, convert y equals to 7 plus 10x minus 2x squared to vertex form. Okay, so this would be very similar, is the same as the one in the book. Actually, let me change it, okay? I'll change it up to a different number. So this one, let's change this to 15, and let's change this to 14x, okay? So let's go ahead and rearrange it into ax squared plus bx plus c first. So y equals to negative 2x squared plus 14x plus 15. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take negative 2 out. Okay, so we're going to factor out negative 2. Okay, first step, factor out negative 2. So when we factor out negative 2, we have y equals to negative 2, and this becomes x squared. 14 divided by negative 2 will be negative 7, so it's minus 7x. And then we have our plus 15 outside, and then second step, we're going to take half of negative 7. So we'll have a fraction over here. I know it's a fraction, but it's still not too difficult to do as long as you follow the correct steps. Okay, and then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to square negative 7 over 2. Okay, so once we square it, this becomes 49 over 4. Okay, so we're going to add 49 and subtract 49. So this becomes y equals to negative 2 bracket, and then we have x squared minus 7x. We have plus 49 over 2 minus 49 over 2, close the bracket, and then we have plus 15. Reapply the bracket to the first 3 terms. This becomes a perfect square. So we have y equals to negative 2 bracket, and then we have this is x minus 7 over 2 whole squared. And then we have minus 49 over 2, close bracket. And then we have plus 15. And then we're going to reapply the negative 2 in front of this and here. Okay, so this works out nicely because the negative 2, sorry, it should be 4. This should have been 4. Sorry, I was making a mistake here. 4 and 4. Okay, so I made a careless mistake there. Let me just rewrite it nicely. That's 4, 4, and this should be 4 as well. And then once the negative 2 goes in, that becomes negative 2 bracket x minus 7 over 2 whole squared. And then this will be negative 49, but negative as well. Negative times negative becomes plus, and then 2 at the top and 4 at the bottom. So the 4 becomes a 2. Okay, so we have a 2 times 49 all over 4. The 2 and the 4 will simplify with each other to become 1 over 2. So this becomes 49 over 2. And then we have plus 15, but we want to convert it into the same denominator or same fraction. So this becomes 30 over 2. Now we can add them together. Okay, so 49 plus 30 becomes 79. So the whole thing becomes y equals to negative 2 bracket of x minus 7 over 2 whole squared, and this will be plus 79 over 2, and that is the completed square form, or in standard form. Now, sometimes a question may go an extra step and ask you to find the vertex or find the roots. Okay, so if you were to find the roots, you're going to set y equals to 0, and you're going to resolve it until you get x equal, and then you can leave it in exact form, or you can leave it into the nearest hundredth form. Okay, so that is it for this summary. Hopefully it helps, and I'll see you in the next one.